You're now tuning in to Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. Get ready to shift your thinking and turn it into success.
Hello, welcome, and thank you for listening. Guess what you need to do? Get over it. You need to just get over it. Now, that doesn't mean what you think it means. Typically, when people say that, they're telling you that you need to stop being a big baby, stop whining, and just move on. That is not at all what I mean when I say that today. My hopes are that by the end of this message, by the end of this broadcast, you will think of the phrase, get over it, very, very differently. Now, something I've learned in life is that whatever you don't get over, you remain under. If it's an issue and you don't get over it, you will remain under that issue. Because whatever you don't deal with is hovering over you. You can try to sweep it under the rug. You can try to avoid it. You can try to pretend it's not there. But it's still there. And it's still over you. So I'm going to talk to you today about how you can get over it instead of it being over you. So I'm going to give you a few examples that are relatable to most people. Number one example that I think is very relatable to all of us, because we've all experienced this at some point in time in life. Unless you lived under a rock, you've experienced this, and that's forgiveness. That's a hard one, and that's going to touch some sensitive spots for some of you listeners. I hope so, in fact, because that's how you can learn how to deal with things. Now, when it comes to forgiveness, when you choose, and forgiveness, by the way, is a choice, not a feeling. Your feelings will follow the choice, not the other way around. So when you choose to forgive, you are choosing to get over that thing. It doesn't mean that your emotions immediately change. You're not a robot. As a human being, your emotions may take time to change, but forgiveness as a choice means you choose not to hold that thing in. Because here's the thing. When you don't forgive, you ain't hurting them. You're hurting you. Because now that thing becomes an angst within you. They may go on living their life and they don't give a crap whether or not you forgive them. But it's you that's hurting. So then that thing becomes bitterness, becomes anger. And that bitterness and anger, and it can become, for unforgiveness can become many other things, but I'm just using those two main ones as example. That resentment and that bitterness is probably a better word. Resentment and bitterness. When those two things take a hold of you, they are over you. Trust me, they are very much over you. And the person that you're not forgiving, they've moved on, they don't care. But you're holding on to that. And that becomes something that you now need to get over because it's over you. And whether you believe it or not, it does hold you back. It does affect your mind. And eventually, if it sits around long enough, it can affect your physical body as well. So, once you choose to forgive someone, you now begin the process. That choice is the beginning of a process. It's not instantaneous. Got to get this mindset out of our minds that everything is instantaneous. Presto changeo, yay. No, the real world doesn't work like that. Especially when it comes to the issues of life. None of them are instantaneous. Very rarely is anything instantaneous. So, if you want to not have bitterness and resentment over you, you need to get over it. And the beginning of that is to choose to forgive. And again, the emotions will follow later. Doesn't mean that you have to let them back in your life and that you have to be an airhead and let them do what they did to you all over again. It just simply means that you choose not to hold on to it. That's all that means. You choose to let it go. And when you do, you're choosing to start the journey to climb that mountain, to get to the top of your mountain and be over it, instead of it being over you. Another example is people's opinions. My God, that is something we can all relate to. Sometimes we are way, 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 way too under people's opinions. Remember, every human has the right to and capability of having an opinion. Doesn't mean their opinion's right. Doesn't mean it means they're a human who understand things and see things a certain way. Has nothing to do with whether or not it's true or whether or not it's right. It's simply their opinion. Very often we live under these, and it stops us from movement, from good movement. It stops us from starting the podcast we should start. It stops us from starting the business we should start. It stops us from doing the things that we need to do. So, the way to get over that is to put less importance in people's opinions. And that is not a feeling. Again, it's not a feeling. It's not an emotion. It's a choice. It's a change in thought process. That change won't happen, won't take a hold of you overnight. But the choice happens one at a time. And recognizing that not everybody's opinions matter. Every single person you talk to can have an opinion about your life. But you know what? Not all of our opinions matter. Learn to pay attention to the opinions that do matter. For me, I care about very few opinions. I'll just tell you that right up front. I really don't care what most people think. I really genuinely don't. But there are a few people whose opinions I value. And that's because I respect their opinions. I know them. I know that their opinions are balanced. I know where they're coming from. And they know me or the subject matter that I'm asking them about. Everybody else's opinions, it's just stuff. Because people have opinions doesn't mean they're informed, doesn't mean they're right. Matter of fact, most opinions are based on ignorance, to be quite honest with you. So, you don't want to remain under someone's opinion. You want to be over it. Being over it means that, okay, people might not like that I'm starting this business. People might not like that I'm standing separate from the crowd. People might not like that I'm not doing what everyone else is doing, that I'm not going about starting my business the standard way everyone else has. So, get over that. Don't be under that. Get over it. One thing I have learned, I would not be sitting here talking to you right now. You would not be listening to my voice. And I would not have accomplished some of the things that I've accomplished in my professional career if I didn't learn how to get over people's opinions. I will never talk to you about what I don't know. I will only talk to you about what I do know. And this is something I do know. Another big one, and this is really personal for me, is condemnation. Condemnation. Condemnation is like a room with no windows. You're stuck in it and there's no way to get out. Condemnation, and those of you who have experienced this, you know what I'm talking about. You just might not know it by its name. Condemnation is when you have that voice in your head telling you you're bad, you're a piece of crap, you can't get anywhere, what you did was awful, you made a mistake and it's terrible, it makes you an awful person, blah, 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 blah. Many other thoughts like that. All my life, I have dealt with those stupid little demons talking to me like that in my head. That's condemnation. Telling you, putting you down with giving you no way out. It's not the same thing as conviction. Conviction means, all right, you did something bad, you're sorry for it, you made a mistake, whatever the case may be. But then the next step in conviction is a way out. Condemnation is a put down with no way out. And when I say put down, I'm not just talking about insults. I mean feeling bad about yourself. You know, there are many different ways that happens, but feeling bad about yourself. And then, staying there And you stay there, and you stay there, and you stay there because it's a window with no rooms. I'm sorry, it's a room with no windows. There's no way out. I used to live heavily under that. Now, I've gotten over it. And I have truly gotten over it, which is why I can speak about it today. But it was a process. You will constantly hear me say progress is a process. This is true for this as well. Your progress is always going to be a process. In this case, I'm talking about getting over something. But it's a process. So don't expect it instantaneously. There's a reason. Let me explain something to you. There's a reason why there's no microwaves in nature. You'll never find a microwave tree, right? Of course not. Because in reality, nothing is instant like that. That's a man-made thing. But in nature, everything takes time. If you want to cook something, that takes time. You want to make something, that takes time. Whatever that thing is, everything takes time. And it's also true when it comes to our own emotional and mental health, spiritual well-being, or just well-being as a whole person. Condemnation is a room with no windows, no way out. And the way to get over that is to recognize the fact that you cannot change yesterday. You can't change 5 minutes ago, but you can do something about 5 minutes from now. Condemnation is backwards thinking. You're always looking at the past. You're always looking at, what I can't do, what I didn't do, all the negative things about me. Where the best way to get over that is look at what you can do. Look at the future. Look at the forward, not the backwards. What can I do? All right. Yes, I made that mistake yesterday. I shouldn't have said that. I did this wrong thing. Whatever that thing is, because, we're human. We all do them. Whatever that thing is, even if it's just a mistake, don't beat yourself up about it. Instead, figure out what you can do to move forward and then do that. That is how you get over your condemnation. I know because I live it. That used to be me. So, how you get over whatever you're under, as you can hear by the examples I just gave you, they are all different. But where they are all the same is a change in mindset. Now, sometimes there are actions that need to go with that change in mindset to reinforce that change in mindset. But primarily, it focuses on shifting your thinking. So if you are looking, I want you to look at your life. And I want you to look at all parts of your life. You can examine it. You can write it down. Think first and then write it down later. Write a list, whatever works for you. And I want you to think about, what are you under? And then, how can I get over that thing? What am I under? And be honest with yourself. Don't lie and pretend like, everything's roses when it's not. Be honest with yourself. What are you under? And how can you get over it? And then what I'd like you to do, next time you hear the phrase, get over it, I want you to think of it differently. I want you to think, well, whatever they're telling me to get over, am I under it? Is it restricting me in some way? And there are many ways that happens. Do I really need to get over that thing? I want you to think about that. And what I'd also like you to do is, if you have an issue that you think you're under and you want to get over it, write me at radio@FatimaBey, FATIMABEY.com. Also, if you have any suggestions for my radio segment, any subjects you'd like to speak of, you can write me there, email me there as well. And again, that's radio@FatimaBey.com. It's been a joy speaking with you, and I hope you tune in for next time.
Tune in next week for another segment of Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. For more of her teachings, subscribe to her YouTube channel at Fatima Bey, the MindShifter.